Everyone's in charge of their own Hello Kitty, okay? And sometimes your Hello Kitty could be like an anaconda. My anaconda don't want none unless she got buns, hun. Okay, so fine. Whatever it is that you have, protect yourself. If you don't even care to protect the person that you're with, care enough about yourself to protect yourself. You know, one person said to me once that everyone looks at these major acts of suicide, you know, where people in one fell swoop basically take their own life. And we oftentimes ignore the daily struggle and the daily approaches to suicide. People engage in reckless behavior all the time and every day look to only bring themselves closer to suicide, you know? And it may sound like a far-fetched thing to understand, but when you are engaging in certain acts, not protecting yourself, it could be something as simple as crossing the street, a busy street, ignoring the walk sign and just doing your own thing, driving recklessly, engaging in non-protective sex with multiple partners or even just one partner who you're not sure about. So I know that we see suicide as something that is quick and happens once, you know, and you just you make this attempt. But a lot of us are committing suicide with the little acts that we are not mindful about every day. And so when you fail to protect yourself, you know, that's kind of how you have to think of it. I mean, everybody kind of, like I said, is in charge of their own little Hello Kitty. But what I will tell you is this. The rise and the information about the rise is something that has seldom been talked about this week. However, understand that rise predominantly affects Black and brown communities. Right? So if you don't understand that, and if you aren't in a socio-political climate in which you would receive this news, it's just part of your everyday news, something for you to be in the know, that is why I'm here to let you know that these things are happening. I mean, the U.S. actually has the highest STD rates in the industrialized world. Here we are, the modern U.S., the modern fucking U.S., the big daddy of all countries, and we have the highest STD rates in the industrialized world. Wild. Wild. And when I say STDs, that also includes all STDs. Now, the U.S. may not have the highest HIV rate, but we have the highest STD rate. So please protect yourself. Be in the know. Know what is going on with yourself. You can't control what you have access to in terms of what someone lets you know about themselves. Are they cheating on you? You know, are they sleeping with multiple people? Are you engaging in sexual acts with someone who is perhaps not being monogamous and is not protecting themselves? You may not ever find that stuff out, but you know about yourself. So just protect yourself. All right, so last but not least, I'm really disappointed in Caresha, Young Miami of the City Girls. Now, if you don't know who that is, the City Girls are featured on the In My Feelings track with Drake. They are also featured on the Quality Control mixtape album. They also have their own album, City Girls Live, period. Okay, which is a bop. And now I went up for these bitches probably before most of y'all did. Check the records, okay? Let the record reflect, okay? And I actually found out about them through Chad Ochocinco posting something about them and me just wanting to find out who the hell song was that. At any rate, Caresha would be the one who is not in jail. That would be JT. Now, Carisha, in a 2013 post on Twitter, said, boy, oh boy, if I ever see any type of gay shit in my son, I'ma beat the boy so bad. Now, someone dug the tweet up, and her response was, her response was, I wouldn't want my son to be gay. I don't know what's so disappointing about that. Okay. Listen, right? This comes on the heels of a 9-year-old boy, Jamel Miles of Colorado, committing suicide after being bullied for being gay. He had just come out a couple of days ago and stated that he was gay, and several classmates told him that he needed to kill himself, and he in fact did. 9 years old. Now, listen, I'm not one of those people that feel as though just because I disagree with your political, social, religious, or any other view for that matter, that means that we can't coexist. That means that I feel as though you should be canceled. Now, what that probably means for me is something different. However, I don't feel like everybody needs to feel like me. And you know who else doesn't feel like that? Mr. Bitch, I'm a cow herself, Doja Cat. She weighed in and said that, you know what? I too have used the word faggot. How visceral does it sound, right? In a post, Doja Cat wrote, I too have used the word faggot. I have said it countless times when I was younger, even sometimes to be offensive. And if I were to still be judged on the use of, or my mindset at that time, I would feel really bad, because that is how I once viewed the word and the visceral nature of the word. I don't see it as in that way now. Well, Perez Hilton, y'all's friend, because that motherfucker ain't my friend, but y'all's friend Perez Hilton also decided to weigh in and give his opinion about how disappointed he was, and, you know, what have you, and, you know, City Girls are canceled and what have you, whatever. Listen, am I disappointed that, you know, this young girl who, I mean, let's be honest, if you were associating their name City Girl with the idea of these young women being these cosmopolitan, urbane women who would have a very liberal view, these are young ladies from Miami, Florida. Probably one of the most conservative places if you really know Miami. Now, I've lived in Miami, and if you associate conservatism with political and or religious traditional views, then Miami possibly is one of the most conservative places I've ever lived in my entire life. Now, Miami is also one of the wildest and most carnal places I've ever lived. However, it's probably one of the most socio-political traditional places that I've ever lived in. People are, you know, and there, that is kind of the multifaceted nature of Miami, where, you know, there could be this very normalized gay culture, and then this very politicized, you know, Latino, deep South Caribbean culture of traditionalism and conservative views. So to hear that this young lady feels this way about being gay, specifically about male gayness, because she didn't say if my daughter was gay, I would beat the shit out of her. You know, I want you guys to understand something in this society that we live. We hate feminism. We don't love women. And I don't think that it's wrong for someone to feel like they would not choose homosexuality for their child. Most parents wouldn't choose homosexuality for their child. Most homosexuals will tell you, if it is based on the life that they had to deal with growing up, knowing who they are, they probably wouldn't have chosen homosexuality for themselves either. Because it is a very rough climate to grow through, because of opinions like this. Now, opinions like this are not the problem. It is what it leads people to do. That's the problem. When you talk about it and say that you would beat it out of your kid, That's the problem. It is not the problem that you have a problem with who I sleep with or how I sleep with them. It is the problem that you feel like you would need to beat it out of me. So I don't have a problem with Koresha's opinion, which I know a lot of y'all are not going to see it that way. You have a problem with the fact that she doesn't like homosexuality. She doesn't have to like homosexuality. That's her goddamn right. She doesn't have to like it. She doesn't have to like your lifestyle and or mine. And we don't have to like hers either. Now, here's the multidimensional nature to this. She's a public figure whose job relies on the support of the general public. And let's be honest, most of the girls that are probably kind of putting her on are probably people who are homosexual themselves. Most of the people who probably are bopping to it the hardest are probably gay people, and she probably needs their money. So that's a problem for her. But if you were only supporting city girls because you thought that they were just like you, or you thought that they liked your life, and you weren't supporting them because you liked their music, then therein lies the disappointment. These aren't leaders. These people, those young ladies are not in service to us. Stop making these motherfuckers your leaders, y'all. Who cares if Koresha from City Girls would beat the... Listen, the bigger problem is I think that as a society, if we're going to be real, we hate feminism. And we hate to see men associated with feminism. However, we want these men who are sensitive, who are caring. Not that those are necessarily effeminate traits only, but we see men who are those kind of men as effeminate. Has nothing to do with their sexuality. We just don't like to see those traits in men. We want men who are hard as a rock, but soft as a pillow. But we don't like feminism. We don't even like feminism in women. You know, we still out here telling our little boys, if you cry, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. Stop crying like a little girl, because crying is something that's only associated with feminism. Being sad is only something that's associated with feminism. Being sensitive is only something that's associated with feminism. Yet and still, when you have to be on the opposite end of someone who's been given that message, and Koresha, I'm sure, has been she's a young black woman. I'm sure she's been on the opposite end of someone who was probably hyper masculine to her, whether it be her daddy, whether it be her man, whoever, someone who was so hyper masculine to her because of this same kind of socio view. I would beat the shit out of him because of who he chose to sleep with, or his effeminate nature. Which is all a stereotype, because she's probably around a bunch of gay motherfuckers right now who she doesn't even realize is gay, because they're not walking around being stereotypically quote unquote gay. So what I say to you guys is, instead of being disappointed in young Koresha, who wrote this message 5 years ago, and I don't even know how old the City Girls are. I would assume that these are girls who are in their 20s, mid to early 20s, right? Chronological age is not an excuse for stupidity. But what I will say is, she's not my leader. I don't require her to have the same viewpoint as me. And you know what? If I don't agree with her viewpoint that much, then I just won't support her financially, which she's in an industry in which she requires me to support her financially. So therefore, she either is going to get with the program or she's going to get canceled. That I understand. But I don't hate her for her opinion. It's her right to have it. It's her right to have an opinion. Now, what she does need to understand as a woman is, where's this opinion coming from? Where's this deep-rooted nature of homosexuality and feminism, and the fact that you think that you could beat, that you should beat, whether he's your son and or otherwise. So, that was really disappointing for me, but it wasn't surprising. And I'm not looking for Koresha to be my leader. Anywho,